The creative society. A society where human life is the highest value, where people respect each other. A safe world without wars or cataclysms. A society where people are confident about the future. Affordable food and housing for all. Work is for 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. Free education and health care. Economic stability. A world without inflation and crisis. Available technology. Solution of environmental problems. Would you like to live in such a society? It's not a utopia. It can be our future. A future that we can build together.
Boundless energy and boundaryless world. We are so lucky to live in this millennium at this point of time. And I am talking with my contemporaries joining from across the world, thinking about people coming together and creating a better world. So today's conversation is based on the simple theme, what happens when people come together? I think Olga will continue the conversation and we will continue further with Jason.
Thank you so much, Paul, for this introduction. Thank you for giving us a chance to talk about the creative society to your audience. Why? Because creative society is for everyone, for every single person in the world. We want to unite whole humanity against one enemy, consumerist format of society. Consumerist format where human life doesn't worth anything. And we see it all across the world. Every hour problem relates to consumerist format where money is on the first place. And we, ordinary people, just decided that we want to build a better world, that we deserve a better world. And if I describe a creative society in just few words, I would say it's a combination of technologies and humanness. We all humans, we all one humanity family, and we learned it after millions of surveys which we made all over the world asking people which kind of society they want to live in. And not even one person said that this world is perfect. I want to just continue like this. Everyone was naming some problems. Of course, some people are living in better conditions. For example, in first world countries, people are suffering from credit debitory, from insecurity, from ecological problems. In some other parts of the world, people are dying from hunger and from lack of fresh water. And we want to show that it's not separate problems. All these problems are ours, humanities. If with only one thing, one change, we will put human life on the first place, we will already change a lot. And if we implement all 8 foundations of the creative society, and I invite everyone to go and just search over search engine this article called 8 Foundations of the Creative Society. If you just search and check it out yourself, just ask yourself if you want to support these foundations, if you want information to be fair and transparent, if you want every person in the world to feel safe and happy, if you want self-development to be affordable by everyone, it means free and quality education for every person in the world. If you want medical care, free for everyone. And other things which you will check over there, I will leave something for you to learn yourself. Then it means that you relate to the creative society. So answering shortly the question, what will happen if we all unite? Everything we have in the world will serve to humanity. Technologies we have, science, innovations, our brain power, our power of unification will serve to improve our life, to make it comfortable, to make it happy, and not like now for just someone's profit. And we show that it's doable. And just one short advertisement I will say, recently we've had a huge event called International Online Forum, Global Crisis. We are people, we want to live. And it's 11 hours of pure volunteer work showing what unification is. I invite everyone to watch, to learn what's going on in the world, and also which ways and solutions we have in the creative society to weigh out.
My heart is jumping out when we say people, creative, and society. All these words itself is communicating, and the work the creative society has done so far, the short span of 3 years of time, is like a millennium's work. And people are coming from across the world and getting connected, and people understand each other, and they feel as if we are sitting next 4 inch closer and talking. Like the technology is also helping us very much, and we are at the right time. Let the conversation continue, Mr. Jason.
I'm usually not as simple as my fellow companions who speak about creative society, because it is such a complex but simple project that is a tremendous amount of work of all the people. And it represents itself what people can do when people come together. The benefits that Olga highlighted just now are just some of them. The reality is that humanity, as far as our current civilization understands, we don't have a model, a graph that shows the outcome of the input of humanity's potential. What we're doing right now, speaking to each other, which is the hardest job and is often not given as much credit as should be had, because humanity's number one problem is that we don't communicate to each other. And the Creative Society Project has shown that one thing that everyone is scared of, everyone's scared to open their door and talk to their neighbor, it's possible. And by combining our intellectual potential, by combining our goodness, by combining all of our human resources, we can give each other everything this world has to offer and then more. But it can only be done together. That's when things become possible. It can't be done by one country, one group of people, one ethnicity, one culture. It's just not possible, And years ago, Carl Sagan, the scientist, had recorded about the pale blue dot. And I like to liken the Creative Society Project to reminding people that we're 8 billion people on this one pale blue dot working together, and we should be working together so that no one is left without. And what's really unique and why it's possible for unification is many languages around the world, they call someone a citizen, they call someone, black or white or Indian or American. But the Creative Society Project starts with the value of human life, right? Human being at the center. And that is the most important and fundamental thing that's missing in all of our society, is putting that language there to remind each other what consumerism has made us forget, that you are not just a product. She is not just a product, but a human being. And Olga had mentioned the form that was done. If someone needs a practical example of what's possible when people unite, what is really possible, that conference she mentioned, the forum, was translated in so many languages. And just as a short story of what a person can do when they're inspired by the Creative Society Project and they want to unite the world, there's an individual who sat there for 10 hours while being eaten by mosquitoes just to translate it into his language for his people. And that's not saying that people should endure hardships. On the contrary, it just shows that anything is possible if we remember our goal, and that is to unite and move towards a better world together. So thank you for asking me. That's what's possible. Everything's possible. The unimaginable is possible. There's no amount of movies that can show what humanity can do when we're together working towards a goal.
Collective effort, coming together, concentration of human energy on issues, and communication. Communication is the essence of everything. The moment you open the door and talk to the neighbor, everything starts to flourish. When you smile at the next one and get a smile back, the world instantly changes. And we are smiling each other, that we are connected. We are one with the other one. So wonderful. I congratulate the Creative Society for doing such a massive job and making the world understand when people come and do work at people to people level, what great things can happen in the world. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. It is a small percentage of people who shown us what is darkness in the world, how we can spoil the climate, how we can utilize it for the greed of people they are showing us. And on the other side, others are coming and thinking what I can do for the other. How can I make other person's life better? How can I contribute towards what I have taken from the world? I just remember one of our naval commanders made a comment. If a human is aware of the amount of breath that he take in a lifetime, and he made a calculation and told me in Indian rupees, if a person lives for 100 years, suppose we calculate the value for oxygen, which we need to pay when we are in, say, suppose we go for a scuba diving or go for mountaineering, and all we need to buy oxygen. If we, that is the case, if we are freely breathing from the air, suppose we need to pay, suppose the universe is asking us a payback for the air, we end up by paying 75 crores of rupees. I don't know how to convert it into other currencies, but so huge, so huge. And he told, when I calculated 75 crores of rupees, it doesn't mean that it ends there. Your lung system, your organs, all put together, it is, you can't measure the value of human beings, what we are taking from the universe. And now that we are giving back, the universe will be rejoicing and celebrating. And as great author Paulo Coelho says, when our intention is good, the entire universe will conspire to make these things to reality. Olga, continue the conversation.
Thank you, Jason, for adding words about the forum, because that was a historical event. I think everyone should know. Nothing like that happened before in the history of humanity. Just think of it, millions of people were watching together information which was prepared by, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of people on a volunteer base. Every piece of information were carefully collected and checked by analytical team. And every fact is able to save lives if you build the creative society. So let me tell a little more about the forum and why we put so much of importance on speaking about it. The main topic was deadlock of a consumerist format of society. And now we have so many problems related to that. As I said before, our ecological health of our planet is fully devastated. And now we are on the stage when, if we don't help our planet, it won't be able to recreate itself. Just think of it, how much we spoiled the ecology, oceans, trees, air, soils, and all the planet. So it won't be able to recover without technologies which only we people can bring. Second, so many different problems which usually are not spoken about, like human trafficking, like slavery. Just think of it. There are 140 million slaves in the world. This number is much higher, 10,000 times higher than when slavery existed hundreds of years before. And it's in nowadays society, when we have technologies, when we have media, when we have so much of information, we have internet, and still this information is being hidden. So we are showing exact numbers. We are showing stories of eyewitnesses to let people know that this exists. It cannot be hidden. And if we don't talk about it, we don't put a light on it, no one will do. Because apparently it's not profitable to discuss this kind of information. The third topic, I would say, maybe from one perspective, it's the most important, because it's the drastical problem now we have, which is threatening the whole world, is climate change. And we showed exact scale over the forum. We were interviewing eyewitnesses of climate disasters from all over the world. I personally interviewed many of them, and there was a team of, again, thousands of people who were finding them, searching for them, interviewing them, and collecting the information. Climate catastrophes now are happening every day in some part of the world. It never happened like this before. And we see from all the data that it's only increasing. So we were interviewing also scientists and specialists from different areas. Why is it happening like this? What's the real reason of the climate change? And is it related to human behavior? And we proved with facts, with numbers, with graphs and statistics and everything else that climate change is not related to human activity. It's not related to CO2 theory. Yes, CO2 is influencing planet, it's influencing ecological state, let's say, but it has nothing to do with climate change. And we need to speak about it. Once again, it's not spoken over media that widely, but this is such an important information because now, when we still have time, we need to unite scientific potential of our planet. All scientists should work collectively on the problem of climate change and solve it. And I'm sure if we all put our brain power, we can find a solution. It's just an influence. It's just a cycle which is happening to our planet. What we came to with scientific ground that every 12,000 years, this happens to our planet. Surface of our planet changes fully. And now as we people are living on it, of course, we will suffer. We are suffering from that. And it's our responsibility to help ourselves. Nobody else will do. So that is why we made this forum, and we are making conferences on a periodical base. It's our 6th conference, to be fair, and we are improving every time. We are inviting all people to help us with collecting this information, with preparing the next forum, which will be in 5 months. And we also invite every media in the world, every blogger, to become information partner and support our forums and the creative society to spread this information to people, information of real scale of problems we have now and real solutions that we have in hands.
The amount of goodness that you are propagating and doing, yours is action model, not talking model. People talk and then they forget. Here you are taking steps and giving option for others also to act. And when people contribute little by little, it is large ocean that we are creating. So happy we are in such a wonderful company of good people who mean goodness for others, goodness for everybody, not thinking about what I get, what I can do for the world, what I can do to better the world. Let Mr. Jason give a concluding note so that we can conclude the conversation now.
Thank you again, Paul, for the invitation here and touching upon this topic, because it's not often that we actually get to sit here and explain this in such a simple manner. And so we've covered what unification can look like, what human potentiality should be, and where it should be driven towards. And we've discussed some of the conferences and the conclusion of those conferences. But if I recall correctly, you had kind of asked for a specific example of these things in action. And Olga touched on the outcome, so the output. And a lot of people may have the question in mind when they hear this, well, what is it exactly you guys are doing as an individual, and how does this work? Importantly, I must remind that the project is a 3-stage project. And right now we are in the informational stage. Day by day, as you said so well earlier, little by little, the butterfly flaps its wings. The work is done. and people find out about the project and they find out the truth about the project, because there is a existential threat and a reason for unification, and it is very real. And the people who gathered that information, how did they do it? What happened and how does it take place? People take upon these responsibilities themselves. There is no upper echelon, no management that says, hey, Jason, hey, if you can you perform this mathematical analysis of these equations, because we're not really sure. No, it's like, if you're interested in that direction, that is what you do. And if you don't have the skill, then you acquire the skill. It's a crazy idea. But, you know, if you don't know calculus and you want to know calculus and you want to be involved in understanding climate change at a cyclical level, then you start to study that so that you can bring the information towards people. If you don't understand media relations and you want to become a better communicator with people, then you just talk open and honestly, and then you brush up on how our society does it and structures it. But you just learn to talk honestly and as a human being. I don't know how to present that more simple than that. And that is, people desire to give to humanity, to bring humanity together, because a spark is lit up when people talk about the project and they're reminded that I felt this way when I was a kid. He felt that way when he was a kid. She felt that way. And the project reminds people of that it's a choice. That's what we're talking about here, is it's a choice to unite, to put our actions together. And just that little desire is what allowed that forum to take place that Olga just mentioned, what allowed people to spend countless of hours, regardless of their environment, regardless of their monetary situation, regardless of their educational background, regardless of their level of spirituality, regardless of their religion, irrespective of all those barriers. It was just a desire for people to take action for themselves and give back to society. And we've covered a little bit on that, but I wanted to highlight that for you because we can get lost in these actions in this global movement because it is growing over the course of 2 to 3 years. But I really find that important for people to remember that it just started with someone wanting to take action and wanting to learn. And it's not possible without it. And so any person can contribute to the informational stage because there's 8 billion people on this planet. I don't have the knowledge or capacity of 8 billion people, but together we do. So thank you.
Together we do well. Our conversation was very simple, but our conversation was profound. This is profound simplicity. I remember I visited one deaf and dumb institution where 300 students were there, and I was asked to address the students all of a sudden, and I was taken to the podium and I was talking to the students. I was very emotional, and there were 2 people translating what I was speaking to them into 2 different languages. I never knew that different translation for different languages. One was in English and one was in another language. Both sides, 2 people were translating the conversation to them. But when I was talking to them, I found them responding to me before they hear the translation. That means my conversation gone to them without them hearing what I spoke to them. Our communication is non-verbal. We all are born with the same language, and later we created our mother tongues. We are all part of the single world. We are one. We are one people. And together we are creating a better world, and Creative Society is taking the lead. So nice. Congratulations. Thank you. Let everybody hearing this be part of the Creative Society and contribute their little bit towards this ocean of outcome. Thank you very much.